I'm live. Okay, I cannot tell a lie. I just had to retake my cover photo a million times. We're starting with some lion's breath this morning. Good morning, all. Let me know if you're here. It looks like we have a couple of folks here. Good morning. Hi, Paul. I'm Jennifer Eubank. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Good to be back. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get started. Make my way to my mat. You may want to start with no socks because we're going to get right into it. If you noticed the title this morning, In Like a Lion. So I'd like to start pretty fierce this morning. And we'll start with a nice downward dog and plank series. But first things first, I just got into my spot. I'm very nearsighted. I can't see. I know someone just popped in, but I just got settled in. So I'm going to stay put. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you this morning. My name is Jennifer Eubank, here on Tuesdays at 10 o'clock for the Sun and Moon Yoga YouTube channel. And it's been a few weeks since I've been here, so it's nice to be back. Thank you for having me. And like I said, today's title, In Like a Lion, I thought we would start pretty fierce. I am in hero's pose. I'm going to go ahead and take off my sweater as well. So let's start in some sort of seated position. We're not going to be here long. I'm in hero's pose with my blocks. And take a few moments to settle into your seat. Build your structure. Find some height and some groundedness. Notice your breath. The in breath and the out breath. And as you're ready, let's do a few rounds of some lion's breath. So that's the one where you inhale through your nose and then you let your tongue hang out and you let that exhale all out pretty emphatically. I'll demonstrate. Perfect timing, right on cue, my little lion. It's a really nice, liberating breath. And it can be pretty, make you feel pretty vulnerable. And I'm the only one who has to be embarrassed about what you look like because I'm the only one who's getting typed for this. So you do not be shy. Let's do a few more. And as you're ready, revisit the stability and structure of your seat. And notice if that lion's breath changed it at all. I'm going to take a few more quiet breaths, because sometimes that lion's breath makes me a little dizzy. I'm feeling a little lightheaded here. And then, you know, it's allergy season. Well, allergy season is upon us pretty soon here. Spring is in the air. So I thought we would tap into our Ujjayi breathing as well. And we'll use that Ujjayi breathing to power up our dog and plank series. So you can change your seat if you like. Again, we won't be here much longer. And we'll tap into that Ujjayi breathing, and that's known also as Star Wars or Darth Vader breath. You breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, but you narrow the passageway in your throat so that you have to actually kind of push the air in and out. And you can hear it. And speaking of hearing, they're banging on the wall behind me. You probably can hear that. But we'll plow right through that noise. And we'll do about a minute of your Ujjayi breathing. It's kind of like fogging up a mirror or your glasses with your mouth open. If you're familiar with that, it's like that, but the mouth is closed. We'll go a few more rounds of that. And then you can start to back off that Ujjayi breathing. Reconnect with your seat. Notice if anything changed in your seat from that Ujjayi breathing. And notice if your energy levels are a little bit heightened. And then we'll go ahead and start with a nice, not so gentle practice. Come into your table position. Take a couple of breaths, assimilating and building your table. If you want to do some cats and cows or some crescent moons in your table, feel free. And once you've got your table good and established, then go ahead and bring your hands forward a couple of inches. And then shift your body forward, belly drawn in, heart lifted, legs and glutes strong, feet prominent in the back, and you're in a kneeling plank. And then go back into a child's, or actually a puppy pose. And we'll do that a few times. And then as you're ready, come forward in that plank, that knee plank pose, and then turn it into a full-fledged plank as you're ready. And hold that for a couple of breaths. And then when you're ready, lift up into a dog pose. And hold that for a couple of breaths. Then come into your plank pose again. And then bring those knees down and come back into your child's pose. And take 2 or 3 resting breaths here. And then as you're ready, use an inhale to come up into your kneeling plank. Another inhale to come up into your full-fledged plank. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. And then as you're ready, use an inhale to come up into your dog and see if you can go a little deeper. Build a little bit stronger of a dog here. Put any movement into it as you want. And then inhale into a plank. Inhale into your knee plank and exhale into a puppy or a child's pose. And take a couple of breaths here. And then we'll start to rev it up. So we can use our Ujjayi breathing to power up this sequence. And we'll keep going with this sequence and start to add to it as you feel your energy levels growing. Holding your dogs and your planks longer. Building a little bit more strength and height and depth. Perhaps turning a 4-legged plank into a 3-legged plank. Coming down whenever you're ready, taking a rest in your kneeling plank, and then your puppy or your child's pose. And keep that Ujjayi breath turned on, even when you're resting in your child's pose. If you're feeling any discomfort in your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, that Ujjayi breath can rev up that energy to a point where you turn on more of your bigger muscles. The legs, the feet, well, not the feet, but the legs, the glute muscles, the core muscles. You can turn your 4-legged dogs into a 3-legged dog. And if you do that, make sure you do either side. I'm going to take a little break before I do the other side. And you're welcome to go into them one after the other or take a little break in between. Doesn't matter. As long as you do both. You can put some movement in your child's pose as you rest. So if you're inclined to do some half moon poses as you're down in your child's, feel free to do that. She says, I need a little bit of break. And so this is giving me a little bit of a rest here. But I'm still keeping that Ujjayi breath strong. I really like to start with the knee plank before I turn it into my full-fledged plank. Kind of growing your plank from the ground up. But this sequence also gives you a chance to land into your plank from your dog. So you can grow it from the bottom or grow it from the top. All the while tapping into that energetic, deep Ujjayi breath. A great way to build your core muscles, your leg muscles. And anytime you need to turn down the volume, you can simply go from your kneeling planks to your child's and puppy poses. Let's still use that Ujjayi breath as you do it. Not only does this Ujjayi breath build my energy levels, but it also really puts me more in touch with my breathing. And I breathe in a fuller capacity, completely filling up my lungs and completely emptying them with each and every breath. Bringing in that oxygen and letting go of that carbon dioxide. I'm going to try a fire hydrant dog here as my energy revs up. And you do that from your three-legged dog. When you bend your knee and you open out. So let's take about 4 or 5 more breaths, finishing up your dog plank exploration. Take your time with it and end in a child's pose whenever you're ready. And then as you're ready, use an inhale to come back up into your table position. And then from your table position, bring your forearms down to the floor. So you're in a Sphinx table. And then bring the feet together in the back. Knees wide, but feet together in the back. Sphinx arms still intact. And then bring your hips down to your heels. And as you do that, slide your forearms and your elbows so they connect up with your knees. And you land in what's pretty much a Sphinx child's pose. And as you connect with the earth, your connection to the earth, stabilizing your pose, connect with the structure of your body, further stabilizing your pose. And keep this height in your pose, that length in your spine by keeping the heart lifted and your neck long, and root into the forearms to relax the shoulders down towards the hips. And take a few breaths. When you're ready, rooting into the back structure, the knees and the feet in the middle, and the hips rooting into the heels and the feet there. And take a few breaths, lengthening your tailbone, and then higher up your sacrum, the part of the spine in between the hips. And as the tailbone and the sacrum lengthen, can you feel your hips going a little bit wider? And keep that length growing up the spine, up into your lower spine, your thoracic spine, the part of the spine to which the ribs attach, all the way up into your neck. And I should have mentioned, you can put a blanket between your hips and your heels. But I didn't. But you can always have something between the hips and the heels. And we'll take a few more breaths assimilating this pose. In fact, let's turn on our Ujjayi breathing. And we'll use that Ujjayi breathing to power up our stillness and our quiet and our Sphinx Child's pose. And see if that Ujjayi breathing helps you to lengthen your long lines, those heightened lines, i.e. your spine. And maybe bring a little bit more width to the hips, and the shoulders, and the ribs, and everything in between those areas. And then as you're ready, let's bring the hands in the middle, ball them into fists, and stack the fists on top of one another, and then put your forehead on top of the fists. And this I call tripod child's. So we've got a tripod in the front with the wide elbows and the stacked fists, the head on top in the middle. And then we've got that tripod in the back, the wide knees and the feet together in the middle with the hips on top. And settle into the structure of this pose. The structure of your body. Now notice if your lines are starting to get longer and wider. And again, you could always have a blanket in between the hips and the heels. And this version of child's pose I find a lot easier on the shoulders and the back. Yet you can still find that length and stretch in your spine without doing any overexertion in those shoulder joints. And your head's up a little bit higher, so it's a little less stressful on the neck as well. And as we stay in this pose for a couple more breaths, let's use that Ujjayi breathing to settle into our quiet. Before we use that deep Ujjayi breathing to bring out this energy and power, now we're using it to bring a sense of quiet. In like a lion, out like a lamb. And then as you're ready, notice if anything in your lines have changed. Maybe you want to bring the elbows a little further from the knees. And we'll take just a couple of regular quiet breaths in this pose. And then as you're ready, you can use an inhale to lift up. Maybe return to that Sphinx Child's pose for a breath or two. And as you're ready, rise on up with an inhale into your table pose. And then return to your hero pose, with or without your blocks. And I say hero pose, you don't have to have the feet on either side. You can have a kind of modified, quiet version of heroes, or maybe your heroes is a little deeper. And take a few breaths here. And let's finish with the mudra. Bring your hands together and touch the pinky tips together and the ring fingertips together, and then let the other 3 fingers extend out. And I can't remember what this mudra is called, but it brings a sense of quiet and ease to the body. Hold this mudra for a few breaths, arms on the body, mudra, hands in front of the belly. What sensations does holding this mudra bring about as you continue to breathe in and out? Perhaps you'd like to try Ujjayi breath as you hold this mudra. An interesting exploration. It's the first time I've used Ujjayi breath as I held a mudra. I love the organic nature of our yoga practices together. Let's bring our hands to heart center. May you be safe, may you be happy, and may you be free from suffering. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here. Again, I'm Jennifer Eubank, here on Tuesdays from 10 to 10:30. Sun and Moon is here each weekday morning from 10 to 10:30. Different folks, and hope to see you again and check out our archives. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about me, please check out my website. I'm at jennifereubank.com. 2 N's, 1 F, and no S on the end of Eubank. jennifereubank.com. So thank you so very much. Have a great week and enjoy the sun that's going to come tomorrow. Nice warmer weather again tomorrow. Yoo-hoo! Spring is here. And get your vaccinations. Hope you can get them soon. Thank you for being here. See if any, yes, we still have some folks here. Thank you so much. It's good to be back. Good to be back. I'm going to go ahead and end things if I can remember how to do it. Yes.